This gentleman, who's been a friend of mine for a long time, called it early on. He says there's something happening out there. The ground is shaking. There's a movement taking place in America. Larry Cohen joins us. He is the chair of Democracy Initiative, former president of Communication Workers of America. Mr. Cohen, good to have you back.
Great being on.
What is happening out there now? What it was 3 months ago and what it is now?
Well, we're moving, I think, towards a movement, from sort of movement moments, meaning that these things are still somewhat disconnected, even in this campaign where, as you know, I volunteer basically full time. And, that's what we're trying to do in this campaign is to catch up with these amazing moments in Seattle and Portland and Los Angeles, where altogether almost 75,000 people showed up this weekend to see Bernie, many of them standing outside and listening on speakers. Something is definitely happening. It becomes a movement, I think, when we get more structure around it and not to confine it, but to support it and to build from it rather than sort of the spontaneity that I would say we still have.
And what do you think needs to be done there, Larry?
We need to catch up with the enthusiasm so we can support these amazing tens of thousands, and many of them are young, and that gives me so much hope. When Bernie decided to run, and then on June 10th, when I told him I would volunteer, at that time 10 hours a week. My joke is it's 10 hours a day now. Even for Bernie, this was building a political revolution, as he called it, meaning a continuing fight to change the country, but not necessarily that Bernie would be president. This thing is so big now. These poll results in New Hampshire and my own experience with him in Iowa, and I'm about to go back there, tells me Sanders is going to win Iowa and New Hampshire. And the question is, can we build the structure with no super PAC money, with only small donors? Can we build, trying to catch up with staffing now in these other states, can we build the structure that can support winning in, February and March when these primaries are set up to overwhelm most candidates?
So your thoughts on a 44-37% margin according to the new Franklin Pierce University / Boston Herald poll. How credible is it, and what do you think it means?
I think the direction of it is totally credible because we have the other polls, and they're all moving this way. The Oregon poll on Monday, what was released early Monday, but it was from Oregon before he spoke with 28,000 people in a city of 500,000. It was amazing because he was only down 5 in Oregon. We don't have a single staff person in Oregon. Nobody. Until that speech, he hadn't been to Oregon. And he was only down 5 points to Clinton in Oregon. So I think these polls everywhere are showing this, and it's historic.
Is it the straight talk? Is it the straight talk? Is it the issues? What is it? Your pulse.
It's all of it. It's the straight talk. It's the walk of the last 50 years of Bernie Sanders. Brings tears to my eyes. Young people just cherish what he has been, not just what he says. It's what he has been. It's where he's been. It's who he's been willing to be with. It's the straight talk of a lifetime, and the actions to back it up. And people, have had enough of the political rhetoric and talk, and then not the action. So actions speak louder, and that's what people see in him. It's the credibility of his lifetime and the simplicity in a certain way.
He has not said one negative word about Martin O'Malley or Hillary Clinton or Jim Webb, for that matter. Hasn't run a negative ad, doesn't take the PAC money. It's the purity of it that's the attraction. Do the American people who are active in our political system really want to be a part of something different, something better, something that this was all intended to be? When you have a United States Senator and Claire McCaskill sit there on the cables and say that she doesn't think Bernie Sanders can win because he's a socialist, this identity politics is bullshit. That's what it is. Forget the naming. Where's the issue, and where do you want to take the country? And I think that that's where people are cutting through to the cutting edge of what is in their heart and their soul. People don't realize that in 2008, on the platform of the Democratic Party in Denver, the national convention, universal health care was a part of the platform, yet the party didn't do a damn thing about it. And, of course, we ended up with we couldn't even get public option. So this is an issue that Bernie has never given up on, and this is also part of the attraction. He's the same guy today that he was in 2008, also in 2000, and before that. And these core principles and this course that he has been on throughout his entire life gives a sense of authenticity and trustworthiness, I think, that that is steamrolling. I don't know. I mean, ain't no magic. Yeah, go right ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in to say I can't help this. Claire McCaskill is one of the 13 Senate Democrats who voted wrong on fast track. Does she call herself a free market capitalist? That's what she is. Bernie's so-called democratic socialism means free higher education. It means Medicare for all. He defines it every single day. It means break up the bank. Claire, you're a free market capitalist who voted wrong, dead wrong, overwhelmingly. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, you voted dead wrong on fast track and deserted two-thirds of the Democratic Party. We're going to start to call you the free market capitalist you are, Claire. That's my answer to her. And she couldn't be closer to Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton refused to do anything on fast track. So, we will speak out on this record that these people have when they start doing that kind of identity politics.
That speaks volumes, and it also puts the arrow right into the heart of the United States Senate. Now what? All of these senators who came out early on supporting Hillary, now seeing what's going on in the country, how do they go home and answer their constituents other than saying, yeah, but? The bottom line here is that this fight, this heart and soul fight for the Democratic Party may be one of the healthiest things we've ever seen in our democracy in the last 25 years. And so where's it going to go? Nobody knows. But if you're the little guy out there, if you're the little person out there, if you're the person out there that wants to be heard, this appears to be your campaign. Larry, what's the schedule? What's happening in Iowa when you're on and are there staff people in Iowa, and how is Iowa being managed by the Sanders campaign? Give us some insight.
Yeah, Iowa has, my last count, 25 full-time people. It has thousands of volunteers. Except for the biggest states, the biggest turnout in the House meetings that we did 2 weeks ago today, that were, where we streamed into 3,700 houses and community centers and bars and restaurants, Bernie's message. And more importantly, people were together there, and they talked about what they're going to do afterwards in each one of those 3,700 locations. Iowa had more of them than any state except New York and California. So Iowa's on fire. Iowa, and it's a caucus state, so it's about activism. My belief is we will win Iowa, and we will now even more. I'm confirmed that we can win New Hampshire. So I'll be back in Iowa the 4 days of Labor Day weekend.
Stay close, my friend. Great to have you with us always. Larry Cohen, one of the great ones out there for the American workers, former president, Communication Workers of America, now the chair of the Democracy Initiative. Great to have you with us.